Pretty much anytime I make a video where I read a funny Yu-Gi-Oh article, I get a couple comments from people asking me to make my own version of their list. But a few days ago, I made that video on the article that was called 10 monster cards that look weak but are actually incredibly strong. And never before have I seen so many comments from you guys that wanted me to make my own video using their outline. I will change this just a little bit though, because I think that looking weak is a little bit too vague. I know that that's what they used in the original article, but in today's video, I want to look at cards that I think most people agree are cute, and then I'm going to talk about how actually they're very powerful despite maybe their unassuming artwork. Obviously, I can't cover all of the cute monsters in Yu-Gi-Oh that have powerful effects, but in today's video, I want to cover some of the bigger highlights. I do want to mention real quick here before we start the list that we are very, very close to 140,000 subscribers. We're less than 3,000 subscribers away, which is just mind-blowing to me. So if you've enjoyed the videos from the past couple of weeks, please subscribe, because next week I have some pretty big uploads that I don't want to spoil quite yet, but you'll want to be there when they go public. The cards in today's video are not really in any order, but we will start off today's discussion with Danger Tsuchinoko. I think I speak for a lot of people here that when I first saw this card, I just instantly fell in love with it. I mean, something about this artwork is just so adorable, and I know a lot of people agree. Danger Tsuchinoko is deceptive because while it is just a small cute little snake, it was very popular in a variety of decks. What made this card so good is that it always special summons itself one way or another. When you use the Tsuchinoko effect, if you hit another card, it'll special summon itself and then you'll draw a card, but even if you hit itself with its own ability, it'll still get special summoned with its graveyard effect. That proved to be very, very valuable in many competitive decks, right alongside cards like Danger Jackalope and Danger Nessie. A lot of players actually just played those three danger monsters, which is probably why all three of them are currently limited, because even if you hit the Nessie with its own effect, you can then just search Snake and make sure that you always have a monster to special summon. For what it's worth, Danger Jackalope is also very cute and also very powerful, but it doesn't quite have the same level of fan base as Danger Tsuchinoko. Next up, we have Baby Sarasaurus. Obviously, this card is very adorable. I think a lot of people agree with that. It's a dinosaur that's not even fully hatched, and it's just so cute. That being said, the card itself was not very good for a very, very long time, but with the release of the 2017 Dinosaur Structure Deck, suddenly this card became very important for most of your big combos. Not only can you destroy it with cards like Lost World or Soul Eating Oviraptor or Ultimate Conductor Tyranno, you could also destroy it with Dragonic Diagram and unleash some pretty big combos on your opponent. Nowadays, the card is obviously seeing a ton of meta success because dinosaurs are one of the biggest decks in the format, and Baby Sarasaurus, despite being very cute, is extremely deadly in many of the dinosaur combos. I suppose I can also shout out Petite to the other level 2 dinosaur that you want to destroy, but I think that Baby Sarasaurus has a much bigger following. Next, we have everyone's favorite grumpy plant monster, Dandelion. There's something about this card that is just so endearing. You know, I really do like this card's artwork. It's a lion, it's a dandelion, it's a funny pun, and also the card just looks so angry despite being a 300 attack level 3 monster. This card is obviously extremely powerful. It's currently banned, probably will never come off the list, at least not for quite a while. It's way too good with link summoning and putting free tokens on the board, especially with Salamangreat Almirage in the format. While link summoning might be the reason this card is never unbanned, I will say here that it was actually at peak popularity back with Synchro Monsters because it was part of the smaller plant engine that a lot of players used. You would have Glow Up Bulb and Spore and Dandelion and Lone Fire Blossom to get to whichever one you wanted. Dandelion was very good with Synchro Summoning, even Xyz Summoning, because it triggers whenever it's sent to the graveyard from anywhere, but obviously right now that's a little bit too strong. This is one of the all-time best plant monsters in the entire game, and the artwork is just so adorable. One of the more popular comments on that last video was about the rescue monsters, and I totally agree. Rescue ferret, cat, rabbit, and hamster are all really cute and all have seen competitive play. I was very surprised that none of these cards cards were on that original list, especially Rescue Cat, which has been around for years, I mean over a decade, whereas maybe the newer ones, you know, the author might not have known they existed. At least with Rescue Cat, the card is so old and has seen so much play over Yu-Gi-Oh's history that of course it would have to be included. Maybe the author just didn't like cats. Regardless, all of these cards are extremely powerful. They've seen tons of play in a variety of decks, and for a lot of players, whenever people are talking about cute Yu-Gi-Oh cards that are actually good, these are some of the first cards that come to mind. While many of the Performage monsters are weird clowns, one of them, Plushfire, is an adorable little fire in a hat. I love this card so much. I mean, when it was legal, it was way too overpowered, and obviously it's been banned for several years now. There actually have been some people that have called for this card to be unbanned, and I think that part of the reason, as crazy as it sounds, is just how much people enjoy this card's artwork. That being said, when the card was legal, it was abused in many different combos. You would pop it with cards like Luster Pendulum or Pendulum Sorcerer and stuff like that, trigger their effects while also triggering the Plushfire effect to special summon Damage Juggler or Trick Clown right from your deck. That monster effect is not a hard once per turn, which led to some pretty crazy shenanigans. I don't know how powerful this card would be if it was back right now at 1 copy per deck. Obviously, Damage Juggler went to 3 copies per deck and pretty much no one plays it, and that card used to be very overpowered as well. In other words, what might have looked like a throwaway common card ended up warping an entire format in combination with other powerful pendulums. And I do have to mention the entire Fluffle archetype, because all of these monsters are so cute. Maybe not so much the Frightfur monsters, but all the Fluffle monsters themselves are just adorable, and obviously I'm a huge fan of this deck. I've been playing this deck for years as a fun casual strategy, but even nowadays the deck does have some power. You know, they recently got some support not too long ago. Scythe and Whale are very good cards in any Fluffle deck, and they actually can compete with the meta. Next up we have Swap Frog and pretty much the entire frog archetype. Most of these cards are literally just frogs that were added into a Yu-Gi-Oh card. None of them are too scary or too weird or too gross. They're just frogs, and that's really cute to a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh players. This deck has seen success over the years in many different formats. We originally saw Treeborn Frog being used as a tribute summoning engine in the older Monarch decks. Eventually we got more frog support like Swap Frog and Dupe Frog and Rodenttoad that really did make it its own archetype, but even back in the day when they just had Treeborn Frog, it was still pretty competitively viable. Nowadays we see frogs being played as a control strategy alongside the Paleozoic trap cards, and it still is a pretty good deck. They even recently got Totally Awesome back to 2 copies on the Forbidden and Limited list. This next one might be controversial because I'm not sure if everyone thinks this card is cute, but I'll say that Yatagarasu is hilarious. The card itself is just a little purple bird, but the effect was obviously very broken back in the day, and it's obviously one of the most iconic banned cards in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! I can see what Konami was thinking when they printed this card originally. They were probably just looking at it and saying, okay, 200 attack, how hard is it going to be to inflict battle damage with this card? We might as well give it a huge payoff if you manage to do that. But then we have cards like Chaos Emperor Dragon in combination with cards like Sangan or Witch of the Black Forest, and suddenly it's a very easy combo. Just summon Chaos Emperor Dragon, blow up the field. Now both players have no cards, but you can search Yatagarasu and just lock them out of the game. It's probably not the most popular card when people are thinking of cute Yu-Gi-Oh monsters, but I personally think that Salamangreat Spinny is pretty darn cute. That being said, it's also very good in Salamangreats and always has been. It's one of the key pieces to many of their combos. Maybe not so much anymore with Mirage Stalio being banned, but still a very cool card in pretty much any Salamangreat deck. Not only was the card good for triggering Gazelle really easily, it also put free monsters on the field for link summons or Xyz summons, oftentimes being a very important piece in your early turns, while also keeping up advantage in longer matchups. Before I get to my last entry in today's video, I do want to give an honorable mention to the Melfi archetype, because this one is really adorable. I mean, everyone loves these cards. I think a lot of people do at least, and while this archetype might not really be a powerful set of cards, I think they are good enough enough to warrant an honorable mention. Maybe someday, especially with the Phantom Rage support that they are getting directly and indirectly, this deck will be a viable deck, but for now it's just a fun casual strategy with a lot of cute monsters. That brings us to the final entry in today's video, and that is the entire Madolche archetype. I am so surprised once again that this was not included in that original article. I guess I shouldn't be too mad though, because obviously they don't know a lot of cards. That being said, there are so many cards in the Madolche archetype that are just absolutely cute, so I think the entire archetype deserves a shout out. Madolches have gotten so many tops over the years. I myself even got a top 8 at a regional qualifier back in 2015 with Brilliant Fusion Madolches, but even nowadays they are still seeing play and still getting even more support. Some of their cards have been pretty expensive during certain formats, but after several reprints over the past year or so, the deck is a lot more budget friendly and still quite viable as a rogue level strategy. Anyway, that's all for today's video, my take on that funny Yu-Gi-Oh article from a couple days ago. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section below what cards I missed, because obviously I couldn't cover every single cute monster card in this one discussion. I'll see you guys later though. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.